Yippee! I have the newest palette from Adept Cosmetics. It's Rhnull, and it's going to retail for $72. And they sent this palette to me with no obligation to post, so thank you to Adept Cosmetics for sending this palette my way. And these are the swatches. These are the first 8 eyeshadows, and then I'll show you the last 7 eyeshadows because I have definitely fit all the swatches on my arm before, but it's so hard to photograph, so I just broke it up into 2 segments. But I just really like this color story, just seeing it laid out like this. I'm like, okay, because sometimes you see it in a pan and then you see it swatched out and you're just like, oh, I think I like this a lot more. But wow, the sparkle cam on this is so crazy. Now, you already know I had to start out with Oracle because that juicy, swampy, apple green kind of color, it's so beautiful, and I just apply this basically all over the lid. Kind of haphazardly with a really big fluffy brush and just kind of slowly building up that pigment because that is kind of my preferred way to apply my eyeshadow. And I feel like this color blends really well. There's a little bit of kickback, but it's just so minuscule, and I didn't really have any fallout from this eyeshadow either. And I'm using the shade Grid to blend out Oracle just because it is the lightest matte eyeshadow in this palette, and I think it's a very nice color. I feel like it does kind of struggle to show up on the lid. Good or bad kind of depends. If you're like, I really want this to show up on me, it's very, very light. Like, it's hard to describe because I feel like in the swatches you can kind of see it, but then in the photos that I took of it, you can't see the swatch at all. So I'm like, what the heck? Anyway, this is Graveyard Jade. Probably my second favorite matte in this eyeshadow palette. I was not expecting to like it this much, but like the way that it lays against Oracle, they're just a match made in heaven, as I said in my Instagram post. I think they just pair together so beautifully. I really love the tone because it's green, but still has like some brown in it. So like it's kind of a neutral if you really think about it, but it's really beautiful, and I really love Oracle and Jade, Graveyard Jade. Those are my 2 favorite mattes in this palette. Just really beautiful and stunning. If you have watched any previous videos of mine, you know that my style is kind of like incorporating quite a few mattes into a look and then doing like 1, 2, or even 3 shimmers sometimes. But I will say the limited mattes make the eye looks in this really quick for me, which is really nice. So I feel like on those days where you just like really only have like 10 minutes, I feel like you can do a 10-minute look with this palette really easily. I really like the shade Ensorcelment. I just googled how to pronounce that, so I apologize when I say it wrong later in this video. But perfect, beautiful green gold eyeshadow, and I think it pairs perfectly with this look because it's like semi-monochromatic. And on the outer corner, I applied Shadow Circuit, which is a shimmer color, but it's not quite as intense as Ensorcelment. So it kind of works as like, I don't want to call it quite a satin, but I still think you could use it to kind of deepen up any eye looks without the shimmer being too intense. And for the inner corner, I went in with Venom Pulse, but I kind of wish I went in with a different color. Maybe something like Ghostwire, because I felt like Venom Pulse was just a little bit more pink than I was expecting. But yeah. When I look at this palette, I think maybe if there was like a light green somewhere, I would have maybe preferred it a little bit more, or maybe like on the gold side, because it just, like I said, it felt like it was just a little bit too pink. But I also recognize that in other Adept palettes there are light greens, so make of that what you will. And for my lip liner, I'm just doing something really simple by using Fudge It from the Makeup Shack, which is this nice cool tone lip pencil. I will say the cap on mine cracked, so I mean it was a $5 lip liner, so what do you expect? But at the same time it's like, oh, I hope this doesn't dry out on me soon. But I do really like this for an affordable, cool, toned brown lip color. And probably not that important, but I actually got a cavity filled this day. I don't know about you, but I never had any cavities as a child, and then I got cavities well, I don't say all the time, but I've had cavities more as an adult than as a child, and I don't know what's up with that because I brush my teeth twice a day, I floss, and I use mouthwash. And I'm topping it off with Peaches from Laka. It's the Fruity Glam Tint because they sent me a whole bunch of their mini glam tints, so I'm going to be wearing them in all these videos. I'm not sorry. And this is the final look. Ew, okay, I feel like I went a little bit too orangey on the blush. But I am wearing the Adept Simplicity Cream Blush in Peachy Keen, which I think is perfect because I'm wearing peaches on the lips, but I do think peaches is so much pinker in comparison, so whatever. I think this is a cute look, and I think the quality is there. I didn't struggle much with this look. I did have a little bit of fallout from Shadow Circuit, which I didn't realize until later, but that's okay. I don't think it's too egregious, and I've certainly had worse. But, oh, and I didn't use any glitter glue, so go me! I, once again, am bringing you crustaceous eyelids using the MAC Paint Pot in A Sync to a Whisper. When will she learn, people? My goodness. For this, I knew I wanted a really deep, smoky look, and I'm not gonna lie, next time I wouldn't do it in this exact order, but I was like set on not using Graveyard Jade because I was like, I already used it in a look. I need to not use it again, but girl, we got 5 mattes in this palette, so you know what, I am going to use it, but at this point I hadn't come to that conclusion yet. So I did start with Glitch Serpent, which is this very beautiful, cool-toned, taupey kind of color. I don't know why it looks so like straight up gray in this picture. And then I used Toxic Foam to blend that out, which is like, I'm not going to call this warm, but it looks a little warm. Or maybe it's like Glitch Serpent, but it's kind of taupe, but with like some sort of hint of pink in there somewhere. Very beautiful color, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm just kind of blending that out, going back and forth, or whatever one does when she's doing a smoky eye. I will say for the other eye, it went so much faster because, like I said, I just decided to use Graveyard Jade on the lid. And I feel like starting with Graveyard Jade, then Glitch Serpent, then Toxic Foam, and then Grid if you feel like you need it. Much smoother process. So this would have been a lot quicker if I had just had my head on right. But you know what? This is how we learn. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, should I do my eye makeup first? Because I know sometimes, well, not sometimes, that is the way that Ratboar films her eyeshadows tutorials, is like she'll do one side first and then she'll show you how she did it on the other eye. And I'm like, should I have one eye finished first and then show you like the process of that look with it already finished? Let me know if that's something that, a process that you would like to see it done like that. Because sometimes I feel like when I am filming an eye look and then I don't film the other eye, like it just looks completely different sometimes. So I don't know, maybe that's just me overthinking it. And since this is a smoky eye, I'm really taking my time and making sure that I'm building up the blend in the way that I want it to look, because there's nothing worse than having a smoky eye and then you just look a hot mess, you know? And don't get me wrong, I love like a messy smoky eye because I think that can look really well and beautiful, but you know, sometimes it's just not the vibe that you're going for, right? And yeah, so I want mine to be like a little bit more precise, especially because I have 2 different sized eyelids. So I feel like if I don't make it look right, then it can look even more wonky. So yeah, and I'm just applying shimmer on top, and I went in with Synth Moss first because look at that beautiful, gorgeous shimmer. And it's a little bit more subtle than I was expecting, but I feel like it pops on a black base, but not pops so much, especially compared to the other shadows that I'm going to end up using. But yeah, I started this out on the outer edge of the eye, and it just looks so pretty. And I know in the previous look I said I felt like Venom Pulse was a little bit too pink than I was expecting for the inner corner. This was a lot more pink than I was expecting on the lid. So this wasn't initially the direction that I wanted to go. I can't tell you the direction I had in mind. I think I was expecting like something a little bit green since I started out with Synth Moss, but I really liked how this looked over black, or like a darker base color, mind you. But yeah, and even though there is green happening in here, and then I went in with multi-hex on top, I didn't get Christmas vibes at all. And I know part of it is because the mattes are very like taupey gray. So, you know, that helps as well. But yeah, I actually quite liked this combo, and it's not one that I would have done intentionally, but just kind of going with the flow with the eyeshadow, you know what I mean? And with this next color, Silver Fang, that I'm going to wear on the inner corner, I feel like maybe this shadow would pop a little bit more, especially with the hollows, because I can see them in the swatches that I did, but I feel like on the eye it didn't quite translate as well, and I think part of it is just because it didn't really get to shine in this look. So I definitely want to wear this again kind of like all over the lid, just so that it has more room to kind of do her thing, if you know what I mean. And you know what? I normally don't like this BH Cosmetics brush because I feel like it's never that good for the inner corner, but like it's definitely made for that. But with that shadow, I felt like it actually worked really, really well. So it does pick up nicely with a kind, and it's such a, doesn't have that many fibers in it either. So I'm like, what the heck? But anyway, it picked up really nicely with that brush. And then I decided, you know what? I haven't done a wing in so long, and I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten kind of scared of doing winged eyeliner. I don't know what it is. I feel like it's just because I'm constantly driving the flop bus into Flop City when it comes to doing even eyeliner. Because like I said, my eyelids are two different shapes. So when the left eye is wonky, the whole look, nope, flop central. I become the mayor of Floptopia. So yeah, I wanted to do a winged eyeliner look, and I will say it wasn't quite as dark as I wanted, so I mostly did Graveyard Jade, and then I did a little bit of like Glitch Serpent on top in some parts just to kind of like add extra depth, but I just got too scared to do a black eyeliner on top. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that I didn't. Like, I feel like it would add like a lot of contrast in some way, but you know, I just wanted to show what you could do with this eyeshadow palette in this eyeshadow palette alone. I do like to get a little saucy when it comes to the inner corner eyeliner section. I do think this would have benefited from a liquid liner, honestly. Just, I don't want to say it looks messy, but it just isn't going to stand out quite as much, especially because Silver Fang is just so sharp. So either do the eyeliner first and then kind of build your inner corner shadow around that, or just grab the liquid liner, okay? Because it didn't quite stand out as much as I wanted it to. Again, no fault of the eyeshadow palette, just my own skill level. And for the Laka Fruity Glam lip tint, I went in with, oh my god, I just read the name and I forgot. I'm pretty sure it's Roses. It's 127 Roses, or Rose, and it's definitely much more bright pink than I was kind of going for, and I probably should have just dabbed it off just to kind of make the color more subtle. But you know what? That's okay. I kind of don't mind it, and I haven't worn this kind of lip color by itself in so long, because I feel like I just wore it once in like 2017, and I was like, wait, this looks kind of clownish on me. And I really haven't worn this color since. But I do like the color. I just, I feel like it's so much going on, and just a little bit too bright for the eye look, especially because it's kind of subdued in terms of like the tone of it. But this is the finalized look. Oh my goodness. You know, I don't want to say I was struggling, but this wasn't quite what I planned. And then I'm just tapping over my mauve blush from Adept Cosmetics, and I'm putting Roman's Better Than Cheek Berry Dawn on top, and then doing a highlighter, the pink side, I think, of Ghost Orchid from Diverne Cosmetics, because it's pink, and because I was like, you know what, let's just commit to like this whole pink thing. This is the final look. I really need to revisit winged eyeliner, I think, because I do really like how it looks, I can't lie, and I feel like I got it as even as I possibly could, and I feel like shadow is so much more forgiving compared to liquid eyeliner. I can finally talk. How exciting. So this is definitely going to be the longest segment compared to the other days that I've been doing my makeup. Also, I would love to know, I've been trying to do my eyes first and then do my base last, and I generally come onto camera with like a full face because I feel like, except for my eyes done obviously, and sometimes lipstick, because I feel like I just like, I think it just like presents a better look. And then the thing on my lip, I went and got a cavity filled, and this happened the last time I saw the dentist. I don't know what, it's like this blue, I don't know if it was like the bonding agent or something, whatever, I don't know. It ends up on my lips, and I don't feel it at the time, and it's not until I come home, and I'm like, oh, I have something on my lip, and then it just like irritated my lips, so that's why I look like this. Anyway, it's just been an interesting weekend for me. I'm trying to decide what kind of look I want to do, simply because I have already done, like, I've already used all the mattes. So I might try and do, I'm wondering if I want to do a halo eye or maybe some sort of cut crease situation. I don't know yet. But anyway, I got sidetracked. The whole point is that I was just wondering if it's like, is it better if I come on with like a full face already done and then we work on the eyes together? Because I feel like in my head, I prefer also just having like my entire like makeup done for the most part and then doing eyes last, but then I end up with like fallout on my base, which I don't really care about that sometimes, and other times I do, so I don't know. Okay, let me stop talking, and you know what, I really want to wear Oracle again. Take this on this really small brush and just start putting it on the eyeball. And maybe I'll just end up putting it all over the lid. But I've actually really been enjoying this palette so far. I wasn't sure how I felt about it initially because I felt like, Adept has a lot of palettes that only have 5 mattes, which I think is fine, but I felt like this color story was kind of intimidating for me, which I feel like is crazy because I'm usually not like, I don't feel that way about a lot of color stories. But I've actually really been enjoying this, despite it being something that I normally wouldn't like gravitate towards. Oh, and then for my eyeshadow primer, I'm trying something a little different. So I applied the Visart eyeshadow primer because I want to use it up and just be done with it. And then I did MAC Paint Pot in soft ochre all over the lid. And then I did Sink to a Whisper on certain parts of my lid because I feel like, and I'm sure you'll see it in like yesterday's look too, you noticed it, where I did a Sink to a Whisper all over the lid and it just looks so crusty. And I really like it for making certain colors look vibrant, but I just feel like I cannot use it all over the lid because then we just end up with crustiness like that. So I don't know, or maybe there's like some sort of user error that I'm not doing something correctly. But anyway, just applying this all over the lid and just slowly building up the pigment the way that I want it to and the shape. Will say I have nothing to say. Okay, I'm going to take grid now and just kind of blend out the edges. And I'm really stuck on how I feel about the color grid because I feel like in person you can see it. It is very subtle just because it's obviously a light shade. And I feel like conceptually I like it. I just feel like, I don't know, like I'm just kind of torn on it because I just want there to be, I don't know how to explain it. Like I think it's great for like blending out the edges of certain eye colors or certain colors in here. So I do feel like it's kind of a necessary color, but at the same time, like I wish maybe we got like, I don't know, maybe like, I don't want to say black because I think Graveyard Jade is a really nice like dark color. I don't know what color I would add in here, honestly. And I don't have the EBES palette. When I look at them just side by side, I feel like they look kind of similar. And then once I saw swatches of them compared, I could definitely see the differences between them, but I kind of wish like they weren't released so like one after the other, if that makes sense. Like if there was like another palette in between this one and EB's. Oh, and then I'm just taking Graveyard Jade, by the way. Now that they have discontinued Element 115, which feels like forever ago, honestly, I kind of feel like we're missing a really, like, colorful palette. Or, I don't know. It's hard because, like, they obviously discontinued Element 115 for a reason. And so, just because they discontinued it doesn't mean that they should just, like, fill the void back up with something similar. But I would really love to see their next palette be a little bit more, like, on the colorful matte side. And don't get me wrong, these are, like, I really like Oracle and Graveyard Jade. Like, both of those have really surprised me with how much I like them. Because, I mean, I definitely like sort of swampier greens anyway, but Graveyard Jade especially, I really, really like this shadow. It's so pretty. And just has, like, a nice level of depth and just blends so well. But I feel like you know what I mean. I want to see something a little bit more colorful and saturated from them because I think they have like a good array of neutral eyeshadows right now. But I also feel like maybe that's kind of what their customer base wants, is like a mix of colorful neutral, if that makes sense, rather than like full on color. And then I'm taking Glitch Serpent just to deepen up Graveyard Jade, because I really want there to be a lot of depth, or as much as I can get out of this palette, you know what I mean? I might bring this up, blend up a little bit higher, because I think I'm going to do a cut crease or halo eye. I haven't decided yet. Some sort of cut crease situation, so I do want there to be a little bit more room. But I'm really curious about what you guys think about Adept's current lineup of palettes. What you think of EB's or, and you know what, I don't know how to say this, Rhnull? And which, if there's like a palette between the two that you feel like are more up your alley, or if you really like both of them. I'm really curious. Okay, I think I'm gonna take another brush actually. I'm gonna take Oracle again and just really build it up on the edges. Well, not like too much, but actually this brush might be a little bit too fluffy. We'll see. But anyway, like I said, I'm surprisingly like enjoying this color story a lot more than I thought I would. And I think there's a really nice array of shimmers. And even like within the shimmers, I feel like there's a nice, I don't know if balance is the right word. Like there's a nice variety of shimmers happening. Okay, cool. So I'm probably going to do the cut crease off camera because the process for doing that and trying to record it, I don't enjoy at all. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, a bit of a jump scare. I feel like I did so much off camera and I don't know if I like the process of it because it feels like it just takes me forever to do my makeup and film and stuff like that. Also, where'd I put it? Even though my lips look so like, you know, hurt, the Idam Le Chouchou Lip Softening Balm, I got Croissant au Beurre. I took French in high school and I was terrible at pronouncing it, but this immediately my new favorite lip balm. This one has like a little hint of sparkle in it, and I've tried the Ulla Hendrickson, the God, it's like cocoa, the one in, it's like a cocoa shimmer or whatever. It is really not that moisturizing in my opinion. My sister convinced me to try it and I really don't like it that much, just compared to other lip balms. Oh, and then I'm gonna set my lid with Grid. I don't think it's necessary, but I'm just gonna do it. I feel like for a lip balm that has glitter in it, it is so thick and moisturizing, and I low-key wish that I also, well, no, I don't want to buy two $24 lip balms at one time, to be honest, but I kind of wish that, well, I'm going to add to my wish list. Well, and you know what's funny is I already had some of the other colors on my wish list. I want to say like Boba Bounce and the clear one, I think, but they have like other really pretty colors as well that are tinted. But I really want to try the clear one next, I think, because I just really love wearing this. It's so moisturizing, and I love a thick lip balm, but it doesn't feel like goopy thick. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. Anyway, I need to remember which. So I haven't worn Electric Viper, Pixel Phantom, or Iron Nexus, and I don't know. I'm also debating, like, am I gonna do a fourth look for this? Because I feel like I might need to, just so but I don't know. We'll see. I think what I'm going to do, Iron Nexus on the bulk of the lid, like this. And then we'll do Pixel Phantom on the edges. I'm gonna take this super tiny brush and take Iron Nexus. I'm also like kind of tempted to turn one at like maybe, I don't know. I've never tried converting a hollow eyeshadow into a eyeliner, so I really don't know if it would work. Like theoretically, I don't know why it wouldn't, but I just don't know if the hollow particles would really pick up very well if they were like liquidized. Okay, so I know it looks messy, but we trust the process. Okay. And now I'm going to take Pixel Phantom for the outer edges. Okay, good. I like the depth that it adds because I was worried, like, they do look different, but they are both like neutral eyeshadows, so I wasn't sure if they were going to be like too similar looking. Okay, a little too ham on the inner corner there, but I'll see if I can blend it out. Okay, and now I'm take a brush and just try to clean up. Also, I finally beat Silent Hill F. Well, I actually beat it a while ago, but I've only done the default ending and I did the joke ending, which is the UFO ending. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do all the endings because, like, the idea of playing the game like 4 times in a row to get the true ending, I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't appeal to me much. But we'll see. But I'm working on one of the endings right now. But I haven't played in a while, to be honest, because my husband got Pokemon Legends ZA and he's been playing that and he was on leave. So I really wanted him to be able to enjoy his game, and he beat it in like 3 days, but he was also playing like 10 hours a day. So anywho, now I don't know where I want to put Electric Viper. Actually, I kind of do. I think I'm gonna place it kind of like as a topper almost. So I don't want to say it feels like cheating, but I feel like I'm not making the best use of this shade. But at the same time, I'm generally not big into like the red and green color combination. And I do recognize that the greens in this palette really have like a yellow tinge to it, so it doesn't feel Christmassy, but it's still generally not my like favorite way or like favorite colorway. Okay, I actually like how this looks. Hold on. I wasn't sure if it was gonna like look too messy, but hold on. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of bring it down a little bit, but not too much. And the other thing I was gonna say too is sometimes it feels like when I do all the shimmer, because that's generally where most of my fallout is, it feels like a waste to do my base and then just put shimmer fallout on top of that, but I don't know. Anyway, and then I'm gonna add just a smidge on the lower lash line. Okay, perfect. I was gonna say something and I forgot. And then I'm just gonna take this Florence by Mills black mascara. Good God. Lashes on spider, am I right? I don't like to put waterproof mascara on my lower lash line, which is kind of funny when you think about it because I'm so like anti-smudge mascara. But I just feel like it's so much harder to remove. So I'd rather just wear a smudgy mascara. And I will say, I know that lower lash line mascara exists. I just feel like it's such a, I don't want to say it's a waste because like obviously like the wands are so much smaller and thinner, so like you're less likely to smudge your mascara, but I just don't like the idea of buying a separate mascara just for the lower lash line. But okay, for lip liner, I'm going to take Kaya Beige from Romance. This is the Lip Mate pencil. I love this lip liner so much. Oh, I'm going to like kind of remove some of the, because I find if my lips are like too moisturized when applying a lip product sometimes, it just smears everywhere. It doesn't do what I need it to do. Can you believe that's a con? My lips are too moisturized. And then I'm going to see if I can try and cover this. Okay, not 100%, but better than nothing. I feel like my lips are much darker than this pencil. I really like this. And I saw Judy Lim, the makeup artist, she likes to use this to kind of like neutralize her clients' like lip colors. And I think this is so fantastic for that too. Just like to even out. But still have like some hint of color. I don't know, like I think this is a great product. And oh, I don't know what lip color I'm gonna go with. Because like there's a part of me I'm like, I want to keep using the Laka Fruity Glam tints, but I've also used them for every single look. So it's like, use something else. But I'm really enjoying trying all the different colors. And of course, I have this like injury on my lip when I've been planning on doing lip swatches. So I'm just like, but I'm gonna wear one. I don't care. I dropped my palette. Let's hope nothing's broken. Yay! Okay, nothing broke. I'm very clumsy. Again, my desk is a mess. I've been needing to do eyeshadow comparisons too, and I was gonna do Ash Nut, but I have already worn that. So I think I'm going to do Rosy Rose. Ooh, got a little messy. Hold on. Oh, I'm wearing the... Where'd it go? I also dropped it. God, I'm dropping everything. Okay, for blush, I'm actually wearing the Fui Pudding Pot in ND04 My. Such a pretty color. I don't like these on the lips. They just dry out and make my lips look so crusty for some reason. I don't know what I'm going to do for highlighter yet. I might do something pink, but not Fang or Ghost Orchid from Rhnull Cosmetics. So, hold on. This is the completed look. I applied Moonbow from Rhnull Cosmetics on top as my highlighter. Yes. So, I know I feel like I have to like make a disclaimer every time. You know, 3 times, like, for using a palette is great to kind of see the variety and capability of a palette. But in my opinion, still, like, not quite enough uses to be like, yes, you should buy this palette. Well, let me have it open so I can reference it. So, what can I say? For the mattes, I feel like there is a really nice variety in color and unity, so it doesn't feel like so random that you couldn't pair any of these colors together. I really love the tones of the mattes in here as well. And maybe this is just like a personal preference, and I have stated this like in other videos. It's just when, as a brand, your main focus is eyeshadows, there's going to be some inevitable overlaps in colors sometimes, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. You know, it can be good or bad, just depending, like, are you someone who buys every single release from a brand? It could be bad per se, because I do see some redundant well, and when I say redundant, I specifically am talking about the hollows, for example, like Electric Viper, just based on what I'm seeing. I haven't done a swatch comparison yet. It looks like it could be similar to Linda, from, I think, the Minka palette. So I do wish that if we saw more of these hollow shades, that they weren't quite so like red leaning. I would love to see like a green, like a dark green hollow or something, just to kind of like zhuzh up the hollow offerings, especially because we have multi-hex in here too. I think they're different enough to warrant being in the same palette, but just based on my personal preference, I would have loved to see a green or whatnot. But if this is like the only palette you're getting from Adept, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Yeah, because sometimes you like a specific shadow from a palette, but you're like, I don't want the entire palette. So it's kind of nice to see a similar color offered in other palettes. But as a whole, I can see for some people how that might be kind of a negative or like a turn off from a palette. And I will say, I feel like in order to get the best use out of this palette, like I kind of think of like the Adept universe as a whole, right? So like, how is this going to pair with other colors from their other palettes? Because I think that's, to me, how I would get the best use out of this, is pairing it with other eyeshadow palettes. But I actually think there's a nice variety of color in here without it being like too, I don't want to say wacky or wild, but like, it feels pretty cohesive to me as well. Like we have silvers that, and I feel like these are generally kind of cool toned, but we have some greens that aren't in the, and sorrels. And Sorcelment is like the greenest eyeshadow we have in here. Venom Pulse has like a hint of green, and then Ghostwire is a little green as well, but I feel like on me it looks mostly pink. And then Synth Moss has a little bit of green in it as well. So I really like how we have some color variety, but like it still feels very cohesive in a way. And I already said my spiel about like red eyeshadows amongst a green color story is not really like my favorite thing, but I do like the colors in them and it doesn't feel very Christmassy to me at all. I think the neutrals in here are really nice. We have a nice variety of shimmer type and formula, like, yeah, like with the hollows, we have Synth Moss, and I feel like Shadow Circuit, like they're still shimmers, but they're a little bit more subdued compared to like Iron Nexus or Ghostwire, and even Ensorcellement, which is like kind of smooth. I feel like if this color story really appeals to you, or you're like, oh, I really want to add this to my collection, I think this is honestly a really great palette. Like I wasn't expecting to like it as much because like I said, this generally is not like the kind of color story that I go for, but I really like this. I feel like, especially the mattes, like I said, they are limited, but really pair together really well. I don't think this would be my first choice to take when traveling somewhere, but I think this would honestly make a really nice travel palette, to be honest, because we have like a little hint of color somewhere. A nice depth in the mattes happening as well. And I will say this is another shimmer heavy palette, so you have to obviously love shimmers. This is a magnetic eyeshadow palette, so you can just kind of move the shadows around as you see fit, or if you have other Adept palettes, you can mix and match those as well. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. Honestly, this is kind of a surprise hit for me. The quality in here is really great. I will have to do an update on how because I did mention in my swatch post on Instagram that some of the shades did feel like a little bit emollient, but not like squishy, if that makes sense. Like they just have a different feel. And I want to say it was Shadow Circuit. I said that it was Iron Nexus, Ghostwire, and Shadow Circuit where they felt emollient, but they, again, didn't feel like super squishy in the pan. And honestly, I haven't noticed any like alarming creasing from that. Like I did get some creasing from Ghostwire in the inner portion of my lid, but I have oily lids and I have hooded eyes, so it's just, I'm going to get creasing, so it's whatever. But it wasn't like an hour in, because some of the really like squishy shadows, like they will crease on me within 30 minutes. You know, it took a couple hours for the creasing to happen, but it doesn't always bother me either. It's only when it's like creases and it like looks like it's like lifted off my lid. What else can I say about this? Yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard for me to review certain palettes because like I said, when I try to think about like how would I use this palette by itself, and then I also want to think about how it plays into the brand's other palettes as well. So as a standalone palette, I think you can get some really nice looks out of this. And like I said, you can definitely mix and match some of the other colors from their other eyeshadow palettes if you have those as well. I don't know if this would be like my top pick for like someone trying Adept for the first time, but on the other hand, like I really do like the quality of this palette. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think I would just, my personal preference is Emo Adept and the Minka palette. God, I'm trying to think. I mean, because they have other eyeshadow palettes too, but they have discontinued them. So I'm like, I really like those two, and I feel like those are, because I don't want to say beginner friendly, but I feel like they're a little bit more approachable. Because like I said, I feel like cool tones are generally like a little bit harder for people to kind of get into. Like I know they're trending right now, but I feel like people can struggle with them because I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, like easy to cast shadows on your face in a way that some people are like maybe not used to. I really like this palette. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. Oh, and then one thing about the packaging. I, first of all, love this blue color, but this leaves some fingerprints on it pretty badly. Honestly, I don't really care. You can definitely wipe it off, but for some people who are like, I know that it can also be like a big deal for some people. So yeah, but I really freaking love the blue color. Like it's so beautiful and stunning, and I really like their packaging. Like on one hand, I do wish that we got like the palette name on here somewhere, but on the other hand, like I feel like because they have different packaging for each palette, it's kind of like, is it necessary? You tell me, because like, yeah, I feel like just based on the packaging, I would be able to tell like, oh, this is that. I think the only one that I couldn't really do that for, it just like if I was looking at the top of it, is Emo and Minka, even though Emo has like the black slash on the side, you don't see it at the top. So let me know if you have this palette, or if you picked up EBES instead, or if you're looking at both of them. What else? Let me know which look was your favorite. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below in the comments and we can have a little chat. But thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate all the support and kindness. Thank you so much.